please?
Abbotsford, BC. I'm sorry, but it's a really big emergency. I think my friend's having a withdrawal and she's like not responding anymore.
Okay, honey, I just need an address.
I don't know.
Did she overdose on something?
I don't know, I think she might be. But she's not responding, she's not.
How old is she?
17.
Is she awake?
Hardly. Is she breathing? Barely. She's like...
But she is breathing. Is there anything in her mouth?
We can't get her mouth open.
Her mouth is clenched.
It's clenched shut.
She's got it clenched?
Yes.
Okay. So I need you to look at her very closely and tell me every single time she takes a breath.
What do you want me to say, like now?
Yeah, just say now.
No. 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 No.
So we have no idea why she's acting like this?
No, I know why.
Why?
Because I think she's overdosing.
On what?
On MDMA. It's like... It's ecstasy. Her eyes are open, but like literally it's like nothing. You ask her to do anything to like make it look like she's paying attention, and she just doesn't. Oh my gosh. So I'm really scared right now.
So did you get stuff?
Obviously.
Where'd you get it from?
Chris, usual guy.
Hey, did you hear about the girl from Bateman?
She wasn't just that girl from Bateman. Her name was Cheryl McCormack, and she was my best friend.
She was my best friend.
She was my best friend.
Cheryl was my little sister, and she was born May 26, 1994.
We met in rugby.
We started going for our daily walks, which turned into our daily teas.
Cheryl and I, we met in grade 7, and it was the first day of class.
Sleepovers, ended up living with her, spending every minute with her.
Started talking to her, and then she just asked me to hang out.
We ended up being like together every second day of the summer.
The morning that this happened, I woke up, checked my phone like normal, didn't see any text messages from her that night, so I texted her in the morning, didn't get a reply. Figured something like, why aren't you texting me?
And I didn't know she was doing it. I knew she had done it before.
We were talking about that Tyler Miller guy, how he had died, and we were just kind of thinking like, oh, yeah, that'll never happen to us.
I really don't think this is a good idea. Then have another drink. Relax. Think about what happened to Tyler.
Okay, honestly, Tyler didn't even know, he didn't even know what he's taking. I guarantee it. And no, my dealer, I get from him all the time. He wouldn't put shit in this, okay?
It's good. But you never know.
It's not going to happen to us.
I don't know. Just chill out.
We're just gonna do it because it's fun, because we want to lose weight.
So we took our first pills at 9:30, and then Cheryl, right off the bat, was like, my heart's beating really, really fast.
And I noticed that her lips were blue, and I told her to freaking put on chapstick because I thought she was cold. And why do you even need chapstick? It doesn't make sense at all. And it really bothers me because that's a key sign that something's happening to someone.
And Drew was trying to get her outside because she was overheating way more than the rest of us.
She was in my arms, and I said we should probably call 911 now. And then she said, oh no, you only need to call 911 if they become unresponsive. And that was when she fell on the floor and stopped talking.
She seized up and she started doing this really, really weird breathing thing, and her jaw completely clenched shut, and her eyes were open, and she had tears coming out, but she was completely unresponsive. You could not get anything to her.
And then that's when I called her mom.
And the house phone rang, and my parents thought that it was me calling, and I said, no, I'm home. And it was Drew on the phone, and she was screaming. My dad couldn't even understand what she was saying.
Almost as soon as they saw her, they told us to call 911.
And she was just making this noise that I'll never forget, that sounded like she was trying to say something, but she was just trapped in her body.
And Shauna told me how to get to the ICU.
The nurses were having trouble finding Cheryl's pulse. And then we were told to get everyone back and that this was the end and that she wasn't gonna make it.
She was like completely blown up, like swollen everywhere.
I saw her and it was a lot worse than what I had ever imagined.
And her heart just started dropping lower and lower. And she started bleeding up from her mouth. And then her heart rate went to 0 and the machines turned off and she was gone.
I went to the mall to go and get the okay to go see her. And I got a text saying she didn't make it.
That guy basically you'd see at the park, like, you know, standing there in the corner, you know, selling caps, selling bombs. You know, the guy at the school back by the smoke pick, you know, like that was me. A lot of kids, like at that age, when I was around grade 10, 11, started using E, right? So I looked at it as a good way of making money, right?
Methylene dioxymethamphetamine. Methamphetamine. In the brain, there's a major chemical messenger called serotonin. Ecstasy, or MDMA, affects serotonin by increasing the amount that's available to the brain.
I go tell kids I got like triple press acid dip caps, right? When they were like really shit and probably had a lot of meth in them.
So when we talk about why individuals use ecstasy, everyone can say it's because it makes them feel good, they have a sense of energy, a sense of well-being. Those are the selling points for ecstasy. But no one sits down and gives you a handout about ecstasy that says these are all the negative things that can happen.
I didn't care what was in it. I just cared basically that it looked all right and that kids would take it, right?
Some individuals, right after they take the first dose, will tell you that they feel anxious, irritable, confused, that they're depressed, that they're actually craving drugs, and they're having trouble sleeping.
My life kind of sucked, right? And like all it revolved around was using dope. And like after a couple months of doing E, you get suicidal thoughts, right? You'll start wanting to kill yourself. Like I've seen it happen to my good friends. Like, I've seen it happen to people out there, and I keep selling these drugs, right?
Tyler was born June 18th, 1991 in Langley Memorial Hospital.
He was outgoing, energetic, caring, always giving to his friends, family.
Funny. He was really funny. Last summer, Tyler left his Facebook open on my computer, and I went on it, and I saw that he was buying some ecstasy when he was going out to parties. And so I asked him about it, what was going on, and he said that he had been just using it just occasionally, and it was no big deal. He didn't have a problem, and that still concerned me.
The morning of the day that we got the call for Tyler was in the hospital, I bought a car, and to make his life easier, I got to give him his car. He never got to drive. But at least I got to give it to him. He was excited, I could tell. He thanked me. And that told me that he loved me, and that was our last conversation.
You don't know what you're getting. All you know is that you're getting a pill that contains an average of anywhere from 50 to 150 milligrams of ecstasy. And maybe your body will accept 50 milligrams, but 150 milligrams might be enough to create a high dose or toxic reaction.
Muriatic acid, okay? Again, see? And this is why I tell you to wear your gloves, right? The hand there? Yeah. It's because his hand's falling off, man.
Well, ecstasy has another little dirty trick up its sleeve. What happens with this drug is you take one dose, you get a certain effect.
Follow me. Action, man.
You take a second dose, the effect might be many more times. than just doubling the dose.
Not knowing what's in it, not knowing anything about it, would give it to somebody and think like that's not going to happen to them, right? Like I've heard stories like people put like Drano in it and like they piss right in it and they put all these chemicals to find under a sink, right?
Don't touch this shit, okay? This shit will kill you. Make sure you follow the recipe, follow the list. You don't need to know what the fuck this is, just put it in.
And kids eat it and they don't understand like it poisons you, right? And I didn't know that at the time either, right?
Lori got a phone call. We have to get ourselves to the hospital. Tyler's in the hospital. We have to get there right now.
We had left the room and they came and got us at about 6 in the morning and said, he's going to die now. And we watched the monitor go lower and lower and lower until it just stopped. And I'll never forget that moment when he died and I kissed him. And I said, oh my gosh, my baby died. And the worst part was leaving him there and driving away.
The service we had, it was open casket.
It was really important for us that these kids see that this can happen to you too. This is real. This is your friend. He's laying right before you and he's dead. It's just us now. So if you find yourself out there and somebody's pushing ecstasy on you or telling you it's okay, you use Tyler's story, use his story, and that can be your out. Tell them that you know that ecstasy kills.
Yeah, I remember being so upset when Shauna and Cheryl went and got their tattoos. They were supposed to get them on their feet. And when they came home, Cheryl's was a big, big one on her shoulder, and I was livid. I was so upset because she wanted to get a strapless prom dress, and I thought she could have a shawl that would cover up her tattoo. But I'd sure like to see that tattoo again one day. She's just adorable. Look at her. First trip to Disneyland, and she's gonna miss the next one. We've got in mind here too, his first trip to Disneyland. Was he afraid? No. The Hulk. That was one of our favorite places to go to, was Disneyland. Ours too. The last picture ever taken of Cheryl was one that Shauna took while she was in the hospital, hooked up to tubes and life support. She took it so that we could show her one day what she was putting us through and what she looked like in the hospital. But we never got to show her that. And I didn't want that picture out for people to see or for me to remember, but it's in my head forever. I will never forget how she looked that day. It's in my mind forever.
And there's no one that can reassure you that that drug that they sell you, that ecstasy that they sell you, that has passed through countless hands from the point of manufacture to the point where you received it, is pure, it's clean, that it won't cause a problem. And even if it is pure and clean, that you won't experience a problem. So what you're doing is literally playing Russian roulette with your brain on ecstasy.
You know, it's quite normal to be curious about drugs. We've all been there at some point. But taking any drug is a risk that can quickly turn into a mistake where your life hangs in the balance.
If you think I'm being overdramatic, then just ask the people you've heard from today. Did they ever think this would happen to them?
Unlike the pushers of E, we're not trying to sell you anything. We make no money out of this. We don't have to sugarcoat anything to get you to buy in. Our only aim is to give you the facts that will help you make good choices. Can you say that about your local dealer?
We know that peer pressure is strong, and it's not always easy to say no. So how do you make that choice? Well, keep this presentation in mind. We could easily be talking about any one of you.
Create an out. My best friend died.
I've already had a bad experience with you.
Don't you know how much crap goes into that stuff?
Didn't you see that presentation?
Name drop if you have to.
I knew Cheryl. Tyler was a friend of mine.
Personalize the issue and use any name you can. Remember, in real life, your choices have consequences.
And those consequences not only impact you, but those around you, your family and your friends.
Unlike this presentation, we can't erase our mistakes or rewind. We may only get one chance.
Having fun is about knowing which risks are worth taking. So, what's it gonna be?